to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl, and Joy and I are two very old friends who are going to discuss murder and everything else.
Cheryl, today,
Yes.
actually this morning, very early, someone
Uh-huh.
hit one of the phone lines in our neighborhood or phone poles, knocked it down completely, and our power went out at like 7 a.m. just as I was getting out of the shower, which was so irritating for 6 hours.
It could have
It,
been worse. I, I
it,
I was hoping that it would be turned on today so that we could record. So
yeah.
I'm glad it came
I mean,
back on.
I had to tell you though, and you know this, I mean, I couldn't make a cup of coffee. First of all, who has instant coffee?
Yeah.
I couldn't make a hot I mean, you can't do anything. I couldn't
Oh, let
upload a
me.
video. It's so your hands,
Oh, wait a
my
minute.
heat stops working. Everything's electric. We have a fireplace that's electric. We can't do anything without electricity. And it feels like I'd be better off if I was living in a tent,
Yeah. Well,
because at
at that
least
moment.
then I could go outside and build a fire or something.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, I keep a good old fashioned filter, the type that you put right over the cup, and you can make one cup at a time. You just put the grounds in
Oh.
there and you pour
Yeah,
hot
but
water. Only problem is, how are you going to get hot water?
how are you going to get the grounds?
Oh, I don't grind mine. Or do you? I
Oh,
buy uh-uh.
yeah, we buy whole
That's
bean. So
too
listen to
much
this.
work.
Listen to this. And you know what? All of our listeners need to listen to this too. About 6 or 7 years ago, Cheryl and I used to talk about doing a YouTube channel and doing mukbang shows, which are these Korean eating shows. You cook, they're called cookbangs or mukbangs, and you cook the food, that's the cookbang, and you eat the food, that's the mukbang. And we used to talk about it, and I bought one of these portable little single like gas stoves that have these butane canisters that it runs off of. And guess what came out today? So I could make at least some cup noodles for lunch. My little mukbang stove. And guys, if you are out there and looking for something to save your ass when the power goes out, or if you're sitting outside and you want to make a hot soup or something, go out and get you one. They're less than $20 on Amazon. So you heard it here first.
That's
Um,
awesome.
maybe you heard it here last, but it came in. I'm not kidding you. I must have made myself 20 cups of tea. Because the other thing I discovered is when the power goes out, all I want to do is sit and drink hot drinks. So
What else
it's
is there to
also
do?
yeah, it's also wintertime. So the house starts to get very chilly after about an hour.
Hmm.
And so I had a blanket wrapped around me. I had my thick winter socks, and I was drinking tea like a crazy person. So anyway, on that note,
Wait,
I
hold on, hold on, hold up, hold up. You don't want to tell people why the power was taken out?
oh,
I
well,
thi
I don't
I
know exactly why it was taken out,
Oh,
but
did you
theory
s
is my theory is that some asshat was texting and driving. Um, but I mean, they could have been looking down at their console, or they could have been turning around to scream at their kids as they're driving them to school, or they could have just
Oh,
been driving too fast and lost control.
oh, I thought it was, like, definitive that somebody was texting and driving, because I hate that.
No,
Anyway,
I hate it
uh,
too, but I didn't go down to investigate.
uh,
Anywho, guys, just a disclaimer, this is not for children. So shove them out of the room. Hey, Cheryl, do you have any updates for us today?
I do. Do you remember I mentioned, my friend at, Avondale Toyota, Leo, and I bought a pre-owned Honda Passport from him, and I just wanna say I
Oh,
love it.
yeah.
However, I was driving around a neighborhood that was unfamiliar to me, and when Siri goes, "Head south on Main Street," I like to look up at the little compass on the dashboard or wherever it's placed and make sure I'm going in the right direction. And I discovered that
Oh,
my Honda Passport has no compass. And I looked it up, I Googled it, and I saw comments like, why is there no compass on the I mean, it's a 40 something thousand-dollar car. I didn't pay that much because it was pre-owned. You would think they'd put in a compass. I had one on my little Kia 2013 Kia Soul. Anyway, thank God for phones, because I can get a compass on there. But I was just really like scratching my head, like, really? You couldn't put a compass in the car? And then the other thing is the visor is like only 5 inches long. So you can't block this because I'm so short. Like, I'm sure it's fine for the average American person, but especially on the side, I like try to block the sun because I don't need any more age spots on the left side of my face. And I moved the visor to the left side, and the sun is just shining right down on me because I'm too short. The visor is so small. But someone always thinks there is something for every need out there. And on Amazon, I found a visor extender. So you just
oh,
strap it around the visor, and it's this thin little piece that feels like it's not going to last more than a week. And you pull it down, and it extends the visor. It does
how
exactly what it
cool is
says.
that?
I mean, it's solved the problem because I use my visor a lot. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah.
But anyway, but other than that, I'm loving, loving, loving my
Well,
Honda Passport.
Asian ladies like them visors. Woo!
They like those big golf visors, the one that stick out like
Oh
a foot
yeah.
in front of you.
Oh yeah. You got to shield the skin from the sun, girl.
That's right.
Sun damage.
What's your update?
Okay. I don't know who's been living under a rock, but for those of you who have, Overstock.com was recently purchased by Bed Bath and Beyond. That's the company that sends you those annoying 20% off coupons that nobody ever uses. Anyway,
I
I
do.
bought oh, okay. I
Because there's
bought
no
a
expiration date. Even though it says an expiration date, they'll take it forever.
well, I bought
Yeah.
a duvet on Bed Bath and Beyond, and it was very inexpensive, but when it came, it did not look like the picture, so I sent it back and they charged me $12 to ship it back.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
$12 on something that costs like $45.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
come on. The other thing is, I found the color I wanted, but now I'm not incentivized to buy from them because their shipping to return something is crap. So, hey, Bed Bath and Beyond, you need to catch up with the times. Maybe charge a dollar or two, or even like Zara's is like $3.95, but $12?
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of Dodge. That's
that's
ridiculous.
outrageous. Yeah. Is there a
Anyway,
Bed Bath and Beyond near you?
I don't know.
Um,
I don't like to go on. You know what? I have firmly re-embraced the internet and have stopped going to stores again. So,
what you just said last week that I said how much I hate going to stores, and you said, "Oh, I love shopping." Um, it just cracked me up.
every
Stay
week's a
tuned.
new week.
Yeah, well, stay tuned for next week's update from Joy.
Oh God. Every week's a new week. Anyhow, we got some shout outs this week. And my shout out this week is to my cousin Ann and her husband Norm, who sent us some fresh juices from San Diego, burritos from Los Angeles, and sweet treats from Montana. Thank you guys for thinking of us and keeping us in your thoughts and prayers. We love you. Hey, did you know that you can ship food all over the frickin' United States and I mean, even other countries? It's so nice. I tell you, I really, really love this whole like globalized food shipping thing. And then
That's
also a
what.
shout
Now,
out to my oh,
are
go ahead.
they actually? Sorry. Are they ordering it from somewhere that's local to your location, and
No,
then it comes there
no.
fresh? How does the burrito? Okay,
The
interesting.
burritos were like they shrink wrapped and like freeze dried and packed on ice. They literally it came with fresh salsa. It was so delicious. All I did was throw it in a little pan and like sear it on both sides to make it a little crispy. And then if you want, you can throw it in the microwave. But I like the tortilla to be a little crispy on the outside. Absolutely delicious.
Oh,
The
interesting.
desserts, Cheryl, the desserts had like a glaze. They were like berry popovers or turnovers. They had a
Ooh, I
glaze
love
on the top.
turnovers.
Oh yeah, and they were individually
Uh,
wrapped and they tasted like a mixture of like Marionberry and blackberry and blueberry. I mean, they were so delicious. So
that is,
delicious.
oh, so that sounds
Oh
wonderful.
yeah. Anyway, I have a second shout out to my volleyball moms and dads. You guys make these tournaments enjoyable. We were in Charlotte this last weekend. It was so fun. Lots of laughter. And these are, long treks sometimes, a lot of hours in the car, a lot of hours sitting inside convention centers in these stadium seats watching these kids play. But, they just they make it all they make it worthwhile, and just the laughs and hanging out and supporting each other, it means the world to me. So thanks, guys. You have any shout outs?
I do, but I have to wait until you read a letter from our listener.
Oh, letter from my listeners, letter from my listeners.
Our
Okay,
listeners.
Gabe, listen, Gabe told me you got to stop shouting out Doreen and
No,
friend and
never.
Francoise. He's like, it's like they're the only two people listening to the podcast. So, Doreen, if you're listening, this is probably going to be the last love letter from Cheryl and Joy.
No,
But
no,
guys,
not
not
if I have anything to do with it, Doreen. You can keep writing.
not only did Doreen write us to send us a letter, but she sent it to our email address. For those of you who just got out from under that rock, it's murder and everything else at gmail.com.
That's
Anyway,
right.
I am going to paraphrase. She says, first of all, I have to tell you that I am loving listening to your podcast. All caps on the word loving. She tells us she has laughter, tears of pain for Gary Jerry, sometimes confusion. She said that remember, we shouted her out that photograph of her where she's holding the mug that we put on her Instagram. She said she just shot that picture sipping her delicious coffee out of the best mug ever. That she just took that snappy with her iPhone. So amazing. Anyway,
Yeah.
she listened to our Laura Ackerson episode about, remember how they threw the woman's body in the alligator pond somewhere in Texas. She said, Joy, if you show up at my front door with clothes drenched in blood, asking me about alligators eating a body, I would first be in shock and think, WTF. I would gather you in and be afraid something happened to you. And then once the initial shock wore off and you started asking me crazy ass questions, I would have to say, we're calling the cops. If someone murdered me and evidently chopped, she said, if someone murdered me, I would want someone to report it, not just for me, but for my family. But seriously, if you stop loving someone and don't want to be with them anymore, just leave. Why do you have to murder them in such a brutal way? And the whole acid thing, geez, come on. Don't people watch these documentaries and see that people get caught when you buy shit like that? Obviously, the brain isn't working correctly and will probably never understand it. But really? So thank you, Doreen. Oh, and she says Cheryl has an update, by the way, a shout out for Doreen because she puts a
Yes,
PS
because
on the email.
so I don't know if you guys remember, but asked for your feedback on whether or not you ladies, well, I'm not going to discriminate. It could be men too. Change your purse with every outfit that you like, especially when you're going to work and you're dressing up. And she said she does not. And I have to give her a shout out because I think that's way too much effort. In fact, I think she said she doesn't even like carrying a purse. But yay, Doreen, for not giving in to not conforming to these people that are she about their purse matching their outfit, and she does not change her bag out. So yay.
Hilarious. Hilarious. But guess what? I do. So there. Anyway, um, heading into our topic this week, guys, we're doing a little like we're doing something a little different. First of all, our topic does not necessarily cover murder, but and it's my week because I'm the no murder girl. But this week, our topic is winning the lottery. And as an added bonus for all of you murder lovers out there, I have two murder stories that I'm going to cover in this episode. So, strap
Yay.
yourselves in, get yourselves a drink or a snack. Here we go. All right. Cheryl and Company, the websites I used for this episode, they are grunge.com, Yahoo, and Google, and CaliforniaLottery.com, Wikipedia, and NASDAQ.com.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to start out before I go into some questions that I have for you and just some research I did on winning the lottery. I'm going to start out with the first murder case. So most states, I'm going to say probably every state, I don't know, but I'm going to say most every state has a state lottery.
I'm sorry, Joy. Can I just replay that for you? Most states, okay, not most state, every state. Well, no, not most every state. I love how you just.
Every fucking state has a lottery, okay? And then we have like Powerball, and we have so many fucking lottery. We have scratchers. I mean, it's unreal how many. And they tell you things like, well, the education department benefits from the lottery. I'd like to really know how much money the education
Wow.
department gets because I have seen the condition of some of these elementary,
I
middle, and high
know.
schools. My
I
kids
know.
went through the public education system. They're not all that great. So how much money are they getting? Anyway, I'm going to go we're going to cover education on another episode. But
Okay.
anyway, everybody knows about these, stories about people winning the lottery and going bankrupt because Oprah did a whole show on people who win the lottery and go bankrupt, and you hear about it all the time. Um,
Yep.
and usually people know somebody who's won like a raffle or, like at Christmas time, we give away scratchers and one of the kids won $20 and I won $18. But these are on like $3 scratchers. So that's kind of cool because, you
Right.
get $3 and you win $18. So you're basically winning $15 because you have to subtract the amount. But in these cases, the people won a lot of money. So we're going to
Uh-huh.
start with Abraham Shakespeare. Um,
Ooh,
Abraham
this is
Shakespeare was the man
tragic.
who won the lottery in Florida. And remember what we've said about Florida,
But
folks.
Florida.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was a casual laborer from the United States. He won a 30 million lottery jackpot in Florida. He
Mm,
received 17 million in 2006. So, in 2009, his family declared him missing, and in January of 2010, his body was found buried under a concrete slab in the backyard of an acquaintance. And
mm.
Doris Dee Moore was convicted of his murder and is now serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. So let me go back to him winning. On the day that Abraham Shakespeare and co-worker Michael Ford uh, were headed to Miami for work, they briefly stopped at a convenience store in Frostproof, Florida, to buy drinks and cigarettes. And Ford got out of the truck and asked Shakespeare if he wanted a soda. And Shakespeare asked instead for Ford to buy him two lottery tickets. And Shakespeare said that he paid Ford $2 for the tickets out of the $5 he had on him that day. I'll tell you right now, like there's some of you out there who are probably like, I don't even have to hear the rest of the story because the fact that he asked someone else to buy him a lottery ticket and he
Mm.
clearly won is a big tell. So anyway, Ford later approached Shakespeare demanding a share of the jackpot of no less than 1 million, which Shakespeare refused to pay, prompting Ford to sue Shakespeare, alleging that Shakespeare stole the lottery tickets out of Ford's wallet. The jury did not believe Ford's stolen lottery ticket story, and Shakespeare prevailed in the courts. So instead of payments over time, Shakespeare chose the one-time lump sum cash payment of 17 million. He
Mhm.
moved out of his working class neighborhood in um, in Lakeland, Florida, into a gated community. And several months after his lottery win, apart from the $1 million home that he bought, his only other major purchases included a Nissan Altima, which is a very like non-flashy car, and a
Right?
Rolex watch
Practical.
from a pawn shop. So he's
Aw, I
buying
like
it. Yeah, he's buying it reused, like he's recycling it, right? Which is what you should
Mhm.
do with like luxury items, because for something like a Rolex watch, it doesn't depreciate in value. So anyway,
Mhm.
um by late 2010, the sheriff involved in the investigation of his disappearance told the AP that the lottery money is now gone. So that's pretty crazy. Anyway,
Mm.
friends stated Shakespeare had grown frustrated with the constant appeals for money from hangers on and strangers. He told his brother, I'd have been better off broke. And he told a
Yeah.
childhood friend, I thought all these people were my friends, but then I realized all they want is just money. And one of these people is Doris Moore, Doris D.D. Moore. Um, she was the prime suspect in the death of Abraham Shakespeare. She was married to James Moore in 92 and had a son. She was convicted of insurance fraud and falsely reporting a crime and had served a year probation and had filed bankruptcy all before she bumped into our lottery winner.
Mm.
So anyway, before the police found Shakespeare's body, um, Moore said that Shakespeare had decided to leave town and had gone to Texas, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, or Orlando, Florida, or was sick in a hospital. So Dee Dee had lots of different stories that she
Options.
that
She's
she
like,
had shared with the police.
pick the one that
Yeah,
sounds most plausible. It's user's
but I
choice.
I love that two of the places were Texas and Florida, which again,
Yeah, of
like we've
course.
said, those seem to be the real hot spots of crazy.
Yep.
Dee Dee also said that Shakespeare was tired of people asking her for money, so she agreed to help him leave town. After the police
She
found his
sure
body,
did.
yeah, under a concrete slab in the backyard of the home she had put in her boyfriend's name, Moore told the police different versions of what had happened to Shakespeare. She blamed drug dealers, an attorney, and her 14-year-old son. So she's a real upstanding character
Yeah.
because she blamed her own son
Own
in
son,
his
mother of the
death.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She later said that she killed Shakespeare in self defense. Soon after his disappearance, however, Moore, who was living in Shakespeare's house, kept using his cell phone and sending text messages to his friends and relatives, pretending she was Shakespeare. Recipients
Mm.
thought they did not sound like him and were suspicious because Shakespeare was illiterate.
Mm, mm,
What?
mm,
Oh my
mm.
God. And when people texted Shakespeare's phone back with questions that could not be answered by Moore, no response was given. During the same
Oh
time
my
that
gosh.
Moore was trying to make it appear as though Shakespeare was alive, she tried to find a person who would take the blame for his death for $50,000. I gotta tell you, this reads like a really, really bad like who done it. I mean, it's so yeah, I'm gonna take the blame for killing someone for $50,000.
Right.
Like, are
Well,
you kidding
it's
me?
well, people have been hired for murder for 5 grand. So, and they, just taking the blame, you don't actually have to like have, you know, physical blood on your hands. And you make the 50 is not bad, I think, in the world of murder for hire.
Well, but listen to this. Listen to this. She also offered to pay someone to dig up Shakespeare's body and move it to another location.
Good God.
I
She's
mean,
smart.
it's so. It's so crazy.
Oh, what
Um,
people will do for money.
yeah, she offered the mother of one of Shakespeare's two sons a $200,000 home if she would lie to detectives and tell them she had seen him recently. She also paid $5,000 to a relative of Shakespeare's to give his mother a birthday card and imply it was from him. So
Wow.
she obviously, this whole like house of cards obviously was going to crumble.
Yeah,
Um,
she didn't watch enough crime shows to know that you
right.
don't lie in your freaking circle of people that you're telling.
Through the investigation of Moore, it was learned that she had once staged a scene to fraudulently keep a vehicle which was in danger of being repossessed after falling behind on the payments. She had someone store the car in a garage and then pretend she was kidnapped, sexually assaulted,
Oh,
and carjacked. Investigators
oh
claim
my
she
God.
taped her own wrist and threw herself from someone else's car. No, it's crazy. She even Wait, it gets crazier. She even took a rape exam. She later pleaded no contest to the charge and received probation. On December 10th, 2012, Moore was convicted of first degree murder for the killing of Shakespeare and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, with an additional minimum sentence of 25 years for possessing a gun in the course of a violent felony.
Wow, that's
So,
it. Amazing the lengths that someone will go to and not learn their lesson on one. Just like to snowball like that. But I hate, I have to say, not only is there something about Florida and Texas, apparently there's something to be said about women named Dee Dee. No offense. I do know a really good Dee Dee in California, but we had Dee Dee Blanchard, who like totally
oh
screwed up
yeah.
her daughter, and now we have this Dee Dee who is trying to blame his
Oh
murder on
yeah.
her 14-year-old son. Anyway, I just
That's
had to throw that in.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right,
Mhm.
heading on to our
Wait, hold
second.
on. I
Yeah,
have a question. What
okay.
do you think about someone loaning someone a dollar to go get a quick pick and that person winning a huge lottery like this?
Oh,
Do you
Cheryl,
think the person
I'm so glad you asked this question
I know,
because
me too.
I have to just shout out my father-in-law who always buys lottery tickets. And sometimes when he's here or sometimes when we're visiting them, I'll give him a dollar or two and I'll say, buy me a quick pick. And I think it's $2. But anyway, and we always play the what would I do if I won the lottery game? And I have to tell you that for the longest time, my number one answer was pay off our student loans. But so now I'm gonna have to find yeah, anyway, that's a whole different podcast
No, no.
that we're
Wait,
gonna
hold
do on
on, hold on.
but
Okay,
wait,
I know.
but
Wait,
my father-in-law always says, if I win, you win too. And so it depends on who buys the
no,
ticket.
no, 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 no. The question I asked was not the same. That was your dollar. It's just that your father-in-law was physically going to get your ticket with your
Well,
money.
if it was
Abraham,
my father-in-law, I would split it with him.
okay. I'm just curious. Just let it be
But
a
if it was
cautionary tale. Don't borrow
if it
money to go
was
get a lottery ticket.
yeah, it's true. If it was you, then I'd probably split it with you. But I don't think I would ask a rando to buy me a lottery ticket.
Well, he was his what, coworker or something?
Yeah, and
Anyway,
also the person driving him to his work.
so
They
you
were
in that,
carpooling.
do you think Abraham should have given him half?
Absolutely. I think that is the first misstep in this whole debacle.
Unfortunate, unfortunate. Do you think that
There's
had
the
he
other
given him?
I don't
Do you
know.
think that if he had given, because Ford only asked for 1 million, okay, so let's say he gave him the million. Do you think like the universe would have worked in different ways and maybe
I
not
don't
had
know,
the same
Cheryl.
outcome?
We've we've said this before. Karma is a bitch, and I gotta say, if if the universe smiles on you, you got to do right by the universe
You gotta
because
pay
if
it
you don't,
forward.
yeah, if you don't,
Yeah,
you might be in a world of hurt.
and he sure was. Being
Yeah.
buried under cement is No walk in the park.
That's
Okay,
right.
sorry to interrupt you, but I had to ask that
No, no,
question because
that was a good question. I'm glad you circled back. All right, guys, we are roaring on to the story of um Jeffrey Dampier Jr., who won a $20 million lottery, Illinois state lottery in 96. But he
Mhm.
makes the Florida list because he moves here to open a gourmet,
No,
literally, open a
no,
gourmet popcorn store in Tampa, Florida, and was
no,
killed.
no,
Yeah, yeah,
no, no
and
way. No.
yeah, and was killed by his mistress. Wait, listen
Oh,
to this. Was killed by his mistress, who was also his sister in law and her boyfriend. Okay,
wait, hold
let me
on.
read that
His
again.
yes,
He's
please.
killed by his mistress, who was
Oh,
also his sister in law and her boyfriend. So his sister in law, remember, the sister
wait,
in law means that
is her
she's
brother
married,
his brother's
his
wife
brother's wife,
or
his
his
brother's wife, but she has a
had a
boyfriend
boyfriend?
and she is his mistress. I can't make this shit up.
And they were in Florida. I freaking love this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
No, it gets worse. He moves to, okay, here we go. Jeffrey Dampier Jr. and his ex-wife won the Illinois lottery jackpot in 96, worth approximately 20 million. They
Wait, were
eventually
they married?
divorced.
Were they married at the time that they won it? Or he says
They
ex-wife.
they were married. Yeah, they
Okay,
eventually
okay.
divorced and split the money 50-50. Soon
Okay.
after the divorce, Jeffrey meets Crystal Jackson and marries
Uh-oh.
her, and 2 years later they move to Tampa Bay. Once in Florida, Dampier uses the money to invest in a popcorn business called Cassie's Gourmet Popcorn, based in Tampa Bay's Channelside Entertainment District. Shortly after he moved Crystal's two six sisters, Victoria and Terry Jackson, to Tampa as well. With no means of their own, Dampier took care of both the sisters' finances and continued to buy presents for many of their family members, including his sister in law, Victoria Jackson, with whom he was having an affair.
Oh my God.
Okay,
But
so
let's back up to moving to Tampa Bay, Florida to open a popcorn shop. That's very, very
right,
sweet.
right. So on July 26, 2005, so they won the lottery in 96. This is
Okay.
almost 10 years later. He is murdered by Victoria Jackson and her boyfriend,
Of
um,
course.
Nathaniel Jackson, which is surprising. The girl and
They
her
had the
boyfriend
same
have the
last name?
same last name.
Oh,
Anyway, there are multiple accounts of the murder. According to some sources, Dampier was lured to the Jacksons' apartment, who claimed she had car problems. And I'm not going to go into the details because I can't stand the gory parts. Anyway, um,
okay.
so well, okay, maybe I will. Anyway, his hands and feet were bound by shoelaces. Nathaniel Jackson then pointed a gun at Dampier and forced him into his van. Terry Jackson, Victoria's sister, was also at the scene of the
Oh,
murder.
Lord. A
Afterwards,
family affair.
Nathaniel gave the shotgun to Victoria and reportedly said, "Shoot him or I'll shoot you." Dampier was shot in the back of the head. So you can see why
Oh
there are
my
multiple
God.
accounts of the murder, because there was multiple
Mm,
people there. Victoria
yeah.
Jackson was tried and found guilty of first-degree murder, armed kidnapping, and armed carjacking. She was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. Nathaniel Jackson was prosecuted similarly. Jeffrey Dampier Sr. said, "I think everything was correct. I think the state did a good job. I'm very happy. I think my family is very happy."
Yeah, thank
Anyway,
God these
I
people in both stories so far were, held accountable because sometimes you hear the craziest shit where they get
right?
possibility of yeah, so they stay,
So crazy. So
yeah,
just
they
to clarify, his mistress, who was also his sister-in-law, was not married. It was his sister-in-law. It was his wife's younger sister. So
uh,
she wasn't married to like his brother. and
Okay,
also who
I was just like,
friends,
ay,
but
ay,
also
ay.
had a boyfriend, because that would have been really, really fun. Anyway, so you've now heard about two really awful stories about what happens when you win the lottery. So let me go into just a little bit of information and data about it. With so much money up for grabs, here is a look at some of the common mistakes that individuals make when suddenly coming into a large fortune. And um, the four most commonly held mistakes are: people choose a lump sum payment instead of an annuity.
Mm,
So you're given a choice. If you win 20 million, let's say, do you want 17 million, payout, or 15 million payout, or whatever? They'll come up with a number that is less than the full amount of winning. Or would you like an annual payment or a monthly payment? And a lot of times people will say, I want a lump sum. And then they'll just go hog wild, because
mm.
when you have no money and now you have 17 million, it sounds like more money than you could ever conceive of.
Yeah, until you
So
start
that,
giving it away and
right, right,
spending extravagantly and yeah,
right.
yeah.
The second biggest mistake is overestimating your newfound wealth. And Oprah did
Mhm.
a whole thing on $1 million winners. These are people who won $1 million lotteries,
Mhm.
and how quickly they went from being like just normal working people to being bankrupt and practically homeless.
Mhm.
So $1 million after taxes
It's
is
not that much.
not $1 million.
Nope.
Number three is treating the winnings like monopoly money. And I have
Mm.
to say that just saying $17 million feels a little bit like monopoly money, because
Right.
it
Right.
sounds so inconceivable.
Right, right. That's a perfect word. That's a perfect word for it. Yep.
Yeah. And then the fourth biggest mistake lottery winners make is not consulting with financial professionals.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
let's face it, uh, there are things like investments, and there are things like CDs, and there are things like IRAs, and there are things like 401ks and retirement funds and college funds. And there's all these different things that you can do to invest your money, to watch your money grow, and you can't touch it for a certain amount of time. The problem is, again, when you go from having nothing to having everything, it's so easy to go back to having nothing again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it seems like an endless, you know, cash cow type of thing, but it's not infinite. It is finite.
It's
So,
not it's not infinite at all. Um,
yeah.
so one of the most commonly asked questions was, how soon after winning a lottery do you get the money? And the answer
Mhm.
is 6 to 8 weeks. And one of the things that I did read is that it becomes almost like, it feels almost like 6 to 8 years, because someone will win the lottery, they'll go to
Quit their
work the
job.
next day and quit their job. So
Mhm.
now, remember, in 6 to 8 weeks, that's 2 months. You have rent due, you have to buy groceries, you might have to pay your bills, and you're waiting, 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 waiting. So again, it's this like impulsive, almost compulsive behavior, where you're just like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to piss off my boss. I'm going to, fight with all my, and
Yeah.
you make, and then another thing is people start to make promises. And nothing's worse than the promises that later on you can no longer fulfill. If I win the lottery, I'm going to give you $1 million. What if you only
Mhm.
win $1 million? Now you've
Right?
got all these people coming through the woodwork saying, remember, you told me if you won the lottery, you give me $1 million, you buy me a Ferrari, you take me to Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah, that's
it
crazy.
sounds silly, but I mean, people
No,
remember.
it's true. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, there are people that have no morals or ethics or yeah, or a
Yeah.
heart.
The next question is, do lottery winners need security? And almost every website said, with a large amount of wealth comes potential for threats to your personal safety. You could be the target of crimes or scams. A security professional or firm can help protect you, your family, and your assets. That's if you have assets. I mean, my God, if you are buying Ferraris and going to Hawaii every other week and $1 million homes, you're not going to have money for very long.
Right. Is that your phone or mine? It's not mine.
I think it's
Am I here?
my
Am I hearing things? Okay. Anyway,
um another question was how much. So someone, a guy in California by the name of Edwin Castro, um, became like, a reality because he won the $2 billion lottery,
holy
which is
crap.
it was the $2 billion Powerball. I mean, that is an insane amount of money. He struck gold with the $2.4 billion Powerball jackpot in November
Holy
of
crap.
2022, the largest in history. Choosing a one-time lump sum payment, Castro received an astonishing 997.6 million, just short of a billion. But remember, going back to the lump sum payments, he won $2.4 billion. He took a lump sum payment and walked away with less than 1 billion.
Hmm.
So when I
Well,
say
I
that
guess,
taking the lump sum payment is not the way to go, here again is a perfect example of that.
do you think it matters how old you are? I would think that would matter.
I don't know, but
If
the
you don't
website,
you don't have a
I don't
if you
know.
don't have a whole lot of time, you're about to kick the bucket any year now. Yeah, you might want to do the lump sum and give it to, make
I
sure the
don't
people you
know.
love are good and
I did a
that's
little bit of digging because I wanted to see what this Edwin Castro guy has done. With this is
mhm.
an amazing amount of money. And they said that website NASDAQ.com has an article. It says four terrible purchases made by the 2 billion Powerball winner, according to
Uh-oh.
financial planners. And they said that he has purchased multiple mansions in California and even a vintage Porsche 911, as reported by the New York Post in April. So he is, yeah. Oh, and he walked away with less than a billion, but then remember he has to pay federal tax withholdings, so he didn't walk away with 997. He walked away with 628 million.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So you're talking, we're now down almost $400 million because of tax.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So financial advisors typically recommend collecting the payout through an annuity over 29 years. So for 29 years, he would have gotten a payment. He would have avoided long-term tax implications. He probably would have prevented overspending, because
Right.
it would have been a steady income stream is what it
Wait,
would have been.
how old was he? How old was he?
I can't, I didn't find out how old he was, but I'm gonna say he was probably not that old because listen to what he bought. He bought a three-story, $25.5 million mansion in Hollywood Hills. He bought um a $4 million Japanese inspired house in Altadena, California, and then he bought a $47 million mansion in Los Angeles.
Mm.
And so it's like, I mean, that's, remember, you're buying the homes, but what about the upkeep? What about the
Upkeep.
electricity? What about, yeah,
Yeah.
what about shit falling apart? I mean, what
Yeah.
about plumbing? What about the air conditioning doesn't work? What about,
The water
it's
heater,
just
the
the
washer and
water.
dryer, the
Exactly.
dishwasher.
What about the PG&E to heat the damn place?
Yeah. Well, but see now, so you may not know this, but if you take the annuity payout and you are like pretty up there in age. Can you have beneficiaries?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Edwin Castro is 31 years old.
Okay, yeah. So he wanted the fancy schmancy. Give that money to me. Let me tell you, I am my mother's daughter, and I would know how to keep some, for safety net. So,
Well, hang on, because guess what? I got questions for you at the end of this. All
oh,
right. So the next question is, how many lottery winners end up going broke? And it said nearly one third of lottery winners eventually go bankrupt one to within 3 to 5 years, which is more likely than the average American, according to Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards.
wow,
And
that's
this is
sad.
from the California Lottery website. Um, and what is the first thing you should do if you win the lottery? And it's so interesting. First things first, but according to all experts, the number one thing is keep your mouth shut. Before you
Mm.
broadcast your sudden windfall to the world, and even before you contact lottery officials, they said you should be wise to surround yourself with a team of lawyers and financial advisors.
Can you
Isn't that
keep your
interesting?
anonymity? Yeah, can you keep your anonymity? Anonymity.
You know
Um,
what? There was a lottery winner recently that actually did for quite some time. I don't know. Um, I don't know if they could do it forever. And it does say online that while some winners in some states can choose to stay anonymous, California law requires the jackpot winner's name to be released when they come forward to claim their prize. But
why?
they,
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. You need to check in with California on that.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah, you should have the choice to stay anonymous, I think. Why? What is I would love to know the reason why they feel that they have to be announced or outed.
Yeah, I don't know. That's very interesting. Anyway, Cheryl,
Yes.
one of the fun things about this episode is I have
Hmm.
questions for you.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay?
I'm ready.
So
I'm ready.
buckle up. Do
All
you
right.
ever do you ever daydream about winning the lottery?
No. There.
Really?
Because I think because I'm a realist, I'm like I'm never going to win the lottery. No.
Okay. Very good. That's fair.
I well,
Um,
now daydream to me is like you like spend a lot of time thinking about it. I have thought about what I would do if I won a large amount of money, but I don't spend time daydreaming about it.
yeah.
What about you?
Oh yeah, totally. I totally have. I planned it all out. Yeah, I've even written
Shoes,
it down.
shoes, and more shoes. A big
That's
room
right,
full of
girl.
shoes.
Hello, lover. I'd be like, I'm gonna buy you and you and you and you. Oh, I'm gonna take one of every pair in my size. I don't want any of them to feel lonely.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
so with Cheryl, the next question is, what is the first thing you would do if you won a $1 million lottery?
Ew. 1 million after tax or 1 million?
1 million is the total amount. So it hasn't been taxed. You
Uh,
haven't chosen lump sum versus, regular payments or anything. You just find out today you have won $1 million. What is the first thing you do?
oh. Um, that's a very good question because a million is not that much, especially if it's not taxed yet. So I wouldn't go out and buy a Hollywood mansion well, you couldn't even with less than a million. So it would have to be something kind of moderate because, like I said, I'm pretty good about not just blowing the whole wad on one thing. I um maybe by I don't know. I know this sounds like, oh, she's so like altruistic, but I think it would be really okay. This is something that I have thought about, and I'm not just saying this. I've thought how fun it would be to surprise people with a large sum of money, the people that I really love and care about. So, uh, first, I get maybe maybe a nicer house, but see, I don't know why the dude needed 3 mansions. Uh, but unless he was doing it for investment. See, I'm not a good investor, so maybe a nicer house. I don't know. I love my Honda Passport. I don't know if I'd upgrade my car. But I think it would be fun to give people, money, but I wouldn't go hog wild. I would not give people a whole lot of money. Like it would be a couple thousand or whatever, because I'd have to see what it would be like after taxes.
Don't you
What
want
would
to
you
know
do?
why? Don't you want to know why we call it hog wild? Because I'm like, I don't know if when I think of going wild that I think of a hog, you
Hog
know?
wild. I know. I'm going to do an episode on where we get these sayings. Let me write that one down. Hog wild.
Cheryl,
Um,
what about what would be the first thing you would do if you won 100 million? I mean, 100 million is a lot more than 1 million.
um, move back to Hawaii and get a nice house and treat everyone to a nice dinner.
Hilarious.
And a spa day. No. Then,
Hilarious.
then I
A
could give
nice
people
a nice dinner. You're all, "Have the salmon. It's on me." No, have the have the lobster. It's on
have
me.
two. Have two. It's on
You
me.
know what?
No, then
Have one for now and one to take home.
no, it really would be fun to be, give someone $1 million. Give my sister $1 million, give you $1 million. I mean, how fun would that be?
Oh my god.
What would you
That's here.
do?
The first thing I would do is I would hire an attorney. And then
Okay.
and then I would probably hire a security guard.
Oh, okay.
Because
See, I wasn't
now
thinking along.
now I'm paranoid that everyone's gonna kill me for my money because of you. My God. I literally am like in the hotel room looking under the bed, looking behind the curtains. God.
Well, yeah. See, I've taught you well, and it'll probably
Ugh,
save your life.
it's so annoying. I'm like, why can't I just go in the hotel room and go to sleep? I'm looking in the closet. I'm looking behind the curtains. I'm looking in the mini fridge. And of course, Fiona's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have to check stuff out. I mean, I honestly, I think I would hire a security guard and an attorney, and then maybe, I don't know what else. Maybe
A
a
financial
pool,
advisor.
no, a pool boy or something. I don't know.
See, I
And
taught
I
her
don't,
well.
and I don't even have a swimming pool.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Cheryl, the next question is, would you keep your day job?
Ooh, that's a really good question. The
Hmm.
day job I have now, I might. I really love my job. I
Wow.
really love my job. Yeah. I might work less days, but I mean, it's not a lot of it's not full time as in 40 hours. So I would have to say I would for a while anyway, at least for a day. No, I would. What about you?
Uh, I had to think about it. I was all, do I have a job? I'm like, yeah, I would. I totally
Uh-huh.
would. You know what I do? I keep my day job. I would hire somebody to come with me to my day job to
And make
lift
them
up,
work.
no, to lift up the baby so I wouldn't hurt my back anymore, but I would still go. Cuz
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I would just bring the pool boy with me and make him pick up the baby. And
Oh
I'd
gosh.
make him dress like Cal Drogo. I'd be like, okay, you're gonna wear this out.
Oh
You're
my
gonna come with
God.
me. And I'd have
That's
millions of
great.
dollars. I bet I could hire Jason Momoa if I wanted.
I'm sure you
All right.
could. Or at least somebody
Okay.
looked like him.
Last question.
Ah.
Off the top of your head, without thinking too
Uh-oh.
much on it.
Uh-oh.
Let's say
Uh-huh.
you won like the $2 billion Powerball. Name the
Okay.
first 3 things that you have always wanted that are total splurges that you would never spend money on right now, that you would spend money on if you had billions and billions of millions and millions of dollars.
Well, I guess it would be the usual house,
And don't
car,
forget about the lobster.
and a new, like brand spanking new computer. I don't know.
What about
See,
the housekeeper and the chef? Come on, we've talked about them.
right, right. Well, to me, that's just understood. If I get a house, it's gonna have to come with a housekeeper. I don't know. See, I don't sit around thinking about this. So what would be your 3 splurges?
Well, I might get a new vagina. You know that surgery where they pull everything up and tighten it?
Oh my god. Oh Lord. Oh my gosh.
Let's
I
see.
don't know.
Number 2, I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, you know what they say, if you don't have your health, so I'd probably get, I don't know, an MRI or something.
Spoiler alert, you could get one of those now.
I could get one of those machines and have one every freaking day for the rest of my life.
That sounds fun. If I never have another
Then,
MRI in my life, I will be so happy. That thing, it's so anxiety inducing.
is
It's so
it?
loud. Yeah, you've never had an MRI?
No, why would I have an MRI? What exactly is happening that I need an MRI?
Well, your saggy vagina, I guess.
Whoa! I
You
didn't say it was saggy.
Oh, well,
I
why
think
you
we're
said
gonna have I think we're gonna have to edit this out.
What did you say? That you would have it pulled up or something?
Just, it's called vaginal rejuvenation. God, we don't have to make it sound so bad. Make it sound like I'm carrying it around in my pocket or something.
In a separate purse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, Anyway, for those of you listening to this, if you can think of 3 fun things that you'd spend your lottery winnings on, please reach out to us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com. But even though we did cover some murder today and some things that were not murder, you know what is a crime?
A saggy vagina.
That's
What
right.
is it, Joy? What,
That we
Joy?
are out of time.
Oh, that is a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. And please remember not to complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch created and managed by Kevin Callan. Podcast editing and advertising by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezek. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube, and you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.